Start over? Okay. Welcome back to episode 2 of Headspace in the Halls. I'm your host, Ashton, and today we are going to be talking about intimacy and how does that relate to mental health. Now, first off, let's start off. What is intimacy? So, for me personally, I define intimacy as the close relationship of like between two people, like the interpersonal relationship between two people. And it's like a very like deep connection, not just like a surface level type thing, like an iceberg. So if you're looking at an iceberg, I'm talking about like that sea level where the most of the iceberg is underneath the sea. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about intimacy. So my love language, one of my many love languages is physical touch. That is the number one, that is my go-to. I hug all my friends. I love my friends a lot. And in my relationships, I love to cuddle. I'm a cuddle bug. I love cuddling. Um, so with that comes a deeper type of connection because that there's that physical aspect and it kind of like I don't know what it does, but it like kind of brings something off in my brain that like that is a good thing and that is like that makes me feel closer and more connected to my partner. Like I know my partner better because I am physically intimate, like in terms of cuddling with them. And I know like intimacy is like a very like weird word and like people take that as like, oh, intimacy, that's like that sort of thing. But intimacy relates more to just being physical with someone. Like whether you hug your parents or you hug your friends or you hug your partner or the person that you like, that's kind of establishing that deeper connection with them, and that's really like the best part about it. Intimacy, like I said before, it's not just part of relationships, it's also very much with your family members, with your friends. And for me personally, like I said before, I love being like physical with my friends. Like I like to play fight with my friends. That's one of my love languages. Like I don't straight up make fun of them. That's weird. And I don't straight up beat them up. That's also weird. That's not intimacy. That is play fighting. Like that's a whole different topic for a whole different day. But when I hug my friends, I feel like I just transferred some sort of like mystical energy towards them, and it's just like, yay, we love that. And also, as an empath, intimacy is something that is very deep rooted into my system. Like I said before, it sends off some sort of chemical in my brain that makes me feel more connected. And also, if we're talking zodiacs here, or if we're not, just personal, like personality wise, I am somebody who craves human contact. Like, I cannot be friends with a robot because a robot doesn't have the feelings that a human doesn't. A robot wouldn't want to play fight with me the same way that a human would, and a robot wouldn't want to have a connection with me the same way that a human would. And during COVID, that was the worst thing for me because I'm an only child as well. I don't have any siblings. It's just me and my parents. And being in front of a screen all the time, talking to my teachers, talking to my friends, talking to my classmates, it was horrible. I hated that entire year that we were in COVID for, probably more that we were in quarantine for. But point is, we're out of that now. So I don't have to ever worry about that. Thank God. And when quarantine was lifted and I actually got to see my friends again and I started going to the store and actually talking to human beings that are not just my two parents, it was better. And that also brings me to my next point, which is FaceTime is not human contact. I don't care who differs in opinion to me, but that is not human connection. That is, you are basically talking to a screen. The only difference is there is a person listening to you through that screen. You know what I'm saying? And That also, in terms of mental health, it creates isolation and it creates like this depressive mood inside your brain, because as humans we actually need, like, don't fact check me on this, but we do need human connection every day. Like a certain number, like a certain amount of hours, like how you need to drink like 8 glasses of water every day, you need a certain number of hours to be like mentally okay, or else you will fall into a state of depression and isolation. And that is probably the worst thing that you can ever do for your mental health, because like ADHD and autism kind of go hand in hand, depression and anxiety go hand in hand. And if you are like me and you have social anxiety, it's very, very easy to just go straight to isolation. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be friends with anybody. I just want to be by myself all the time. And then that puts me into a depressive episode. And when I fall into a depressive episode, it cripples my mental health, because then my mental health starts affecting my physical health, because I'm not feeling okay mentally. I don't want to take care of myself physically. Like back when COVID was a thing and I was forced to isolate during quarantine, that was the only thing that I wanted to do. I just wanted to sit in my room, scroll through TikTok all day long, and do absolutely nothing productive. The most human interaction I would get is with my parents when we eat dinner together, because we're all on different schedules, so we don't eat breakfast or lunch together. We eat dinner together, and that is the only human contact that I actually get. And then when quarantine was lifted, that's when I developed social anxiety, because I was isolated for so long that it was like I'm scared of humans all of a sudden. And that is really, really bad, and that is what made my mental health cripple, and that is what sent me into a depressive spiral. But thank God, shout out to my therapist for that one. She helped me out of it, and she gave me coping skills that I want to share with you guys as well. And this is something that I'm going to do in my podcast from now on. I think I'm going to share like at least 1 or 2 coping skills based on the main like topic that we're talking about. So, social anxiety and depression and isolation and all that. My main tip, if you have social anxiety, think about it like this. The whole thing about mental health is that if you train your brain to think about negative things, like just negative thing after negative thing, that is how your brain is going to be programmed. And that is the only thing that it's going to, like, that's the only thing that it's going to tell you. That little voice in the back of your head, that's the only thing you're going to be hearing, and it's only going to be about negative things. And who wants to hear about negative things all day long? Not me. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you change your brain to think positively first, that's how your brain is going to give you those positive mantras. And for me personally, with my social anxiety, I think of it like this. That person probably does not care what's about to come out of my mouth. So why don't I just go up to them, because that could become my new best friend. And that's exactly how it happened in this semester. I reached out to someone for the first time, never done that before. I have never made the first move in anything. And this was the very first time that I decided that I was gonna make the first move. And now I have a new best friend. It was crazy. And now we're here. But my second coping skill of the day has to do with isolation and depression. Now, the number one thing that I can really say to avoid isolation, if you are like me and you like to spend a lot of time in your room because your room is your safe space, your room is your escape from reality, cold turkey your room. Do not sit in your room unless you want to go to sleep. Because that's what I've been doing, and that's actually how my depression has been managed. That it's like, it used to be up here, and now it's all the way down here. Because one of my favorite hobbies, reading. Because reading is like my escape from reality into this fantasy world of all of these different ideas and characters and all of these different things going on, like adventures. It's like I'm on this roller coaster of adventures, and it's just the most amazing thing ever. So I, instead of sitting on my bed and reading, or sitting on my desk in my room and reading, I sit in my living room and I put my headphones in because I don't want to be bothered. Or I sit in my kitchen and I find a recipe on TikTok and I get up and I make that recipe. And that is how I avoid isolating myself. Because the reality is, we all have problems. We all want to run away from our problems because that's easy. And I do that too. I run away from my problems a lot. But the thing about it is, the more time you spend running away from your problem is the less time you have being in a positive mindset, being carefree, being stress-free. Because while this problem exists, you are going to be stressed. And it is not a great feeling. So, going on to my next point. Go hang out with your friends. Go outside. Get some fresh air. Even if it's cold outside. If you are a person who loves the cold, this time of the year is the best for you to go outside and have fun, play in the snow, do whatever you want to do. If you are like me and you hate the cold, this probably wouldn't be the greatest thing for you. But I very much encourage you to go out and at least like be outside of your house. Like, even if you go, like you leave your house and you get into a car, and then when you get out of the car, you go right into a building with heaters and stuff, that's fine. At least you're interacting with other people. That's not just your friends on your phone or AI bots or whatever the heck is out there for that sort of like entertainment stuff. Please interact with humans. That is what I'm trying to tell you. And it was actually interesting because when I was in the car yesterday, actually, I was in the car with my dad and we were listening to the radio. And on the radio, they were talking about psychologically, you have to, like, a hug should last 6 seconds, at least. So when you hug somebody, you have to make it last 6 seconds for it to actually, like, bring that, like, deeper connection from a hug. I don't know how that makes sense. I don't know what the science behind that is because I am not a scientist. I am a film major. I don't know. That is not my area of expertise. I only know how to act and talk. No riz, just yeah. So yeah. I guess next time you see your friends, count in your head and hug them for 6 seconds. I don't know. Just do it. It'll help. It'll do something. I don't know. I mean, I actually did that earlier today. I just realized that I did that earlier today with one of my friends. And it was just like, I can't really explain it, but it gave me like this boost of like happy chemicals. And it was like, I can go on with my day, like being a cheerleader basically. It was like, yay! So that was fun. So now we're gonna go on to the importance of intimacy and like tie that all together. Now, intimacy could be something as little as holding somebody's hand, like leading your friend through a crowd by grabbing their hand and just pulling them along. I do this all the time. I mean, I'm the one being pulled. I just follow. I don't question. I just go, and that is it. I mean, I do make plans sometimes, but my plans get canceled a lot, so whatever. And it could be like, you know, something simple as just patting your friend on the back because they did something great. Say they did a midterm, because it's midterm time. So say they did really well on their midterm. Pat your friend on the back. Human connection. Touch them. Hug them, whatever. Just be affectionate with them. That's all I gotta say. Honestly. I mean, something that I do with my friends, whether I'm going to be seeing them in an hour, in 5 minutes from now, because the reality of life, unfortunately, and this is gonna sound a little bit dull and gloomy, But it is the reality, unfortunately, is that tomorrow is never promised. So do whatever you can today, and insert Kung Fu Panda quote here. For what was his name? Master Oogway, I think it was. Yeah, Master Oogway said, tomorrow, something about tomorrow being uncertain. The past is like the past, leave that there. But today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. I don't remember the exact like words that he used, but he basically said something like that, and that has stuck with me ever since I watched it. Ever since I watched that movie, and it was just that's so like, wow, Master Oogway, you're so wise. Um, to say that today is a gift, and you know, an hour from now, some crazy shit is gonna happen, and I may not even see my friend, like, by tomorrow. So, that's why whenever I'm saying goodbye to them, like I said, whether it's for an hour, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 seconds, I give them a hug and I tell them goodbye. Because earlier I made plans with one of my friends, and we were supposed to meet up at MSC, one of the many great places to hang out on campus. Let me just tell you that. I hang out there all the time, and there's food there. It's the best place ever. I love food. Sorry. Got a little bit off topic there. So, and we were supposed to meet there like around, I think it was 3:30, because there was an event happening there. That's another thing, MSC, Myron Student Center, in case you don't know the acronyms. They have events going on there all the time, ran by students, for students, so definitely go check that out if you have like free time in between classes or whatever. Even if it's just 5 minutes, like just go in there. It's always lively, there's always music playing, it's just the energy is so great. So if I ever need to pick me up, I go to MSC. And so I was supposed to be meeting my friend there, and we have classes together at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So we did our class together, and then I said, okay, I'll see you later, and then I gave her a hug. And, you know, even though I'm gonna see you later, I'm still gonna give you a hug goodbye, because I'm not gonna see you for the next 2 hours, 3 hours. And then I got wrapped up in other things, helping other people with other things, and I didn't get to go see her. And the event ended, and I didn't get to go see her. So, now, I won't see her until next week. So that's why. The fact that I hugged her, I still gave her a little goodbye hug. So, God forbid, if I never see her again, I still gave her a goodbye hug. So, I think I've been yapping for a good amount of time now. So, time to wrap things up. So, as usual, thank you so much for watching this episode of Headspace in the Halls. Make sure you tune in next week to see my next episode. I don't know what it will be about yet, but I will think about it. Right here on Kane TV. See you next time.